hungry. You go to sleep hungry, you wake up hungry, and this is day after day after day.
Looks like we got us another hit. Yep.
So you paid, well, those people got paid by themselves because their tax money paid them back in another way instead of the the actual corporate
Right.
entity who failed them and went against them.
So the banks didn't lose; they won on both sides in that.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's fair. Like, how can you make somebody pay for their own harm? Like make them pay for harm that someone else did you.
It's crazy. That's the system. And like I say, them damn banks, they should have went out of business, all of them. I want to read this comment. It's really long winded, but I was just breezing through it, and there's some good stuff in here. So let me start reading it. It says they've been changing the definition of criteria of CPI since the 80s. For example, Richard pointing out the terrible service of the airline and how it isn't factored into the price that you are getting less for your money. In a more tangible example, they also do this with so-called shrinkflation. For example, if last year a 24-ounce box of cereal was $3.99, but this year the same box $3.99 is 16.8 ounces. The government reads this as zero inflation when that's wrong. Let me pause here for a second because this is really, really, really good.
One
Uh,
thousand percent.
that's how they sneak it in and you don't freaking notice. And I've been looking at this shit. Everything, if in the grocery store, the packages are smaller, the amounts that you're getting is smaller, and in some cases the prices are actually going up. But in this case, it's like the price is the same, but the amount that you're getting is less. That's inflation still.
Yes, it is very much so. At like it's a sneaky way, but I mean, it is definitely them being able to change prices, without you asking much because, all right, if you don't see a real price, when you go pick up your box of cereal, whatever the product is, and the price still is the same, but
You
you
don't
kind of looking at it, you saying like, well, damn, but this ain't the same size. I
like
mean, you don't put it in the same category
and
automatically.
and then the packaging is deceptive and has been forever. So they might put it in the same size box. You literally would have to look at the ounces that's in there to be able to determine that it's actually less that you're getting. This is happening across the board.
Yeah.
Let me read some more. It says the same box $3.99. The government reads this as zero inflation, but that is wrong. Not to mention that the cost of plane tickets and even mortgages and housing are basically irrelevant to 50% of the country who either can't afford these things anyway or have no use for them. Another example in between these two would be Walmart. Prices are higher, yes, and they do factor that in. However, what they don't account for is the shopping experience. Not only is there not a single employee that you can walk up to and ask where something is and get a coherent answer, but it gets even worse when you try to ask them about something like recommending a product. And let me add to that. You also got to go stand in line for fucking 30 minutes because they only have two freaking checkers on trying to force you into the self checkout line. And then the self checkout line is long as fuck.
But that's exactly what I was gonna say. Because like you waiting in long lines just to check yourself out.
Let me read some more. They are completely clueless, mostly because of the high turnover rate. You have mostly a staff of people working there less than 6 months at 25 hours a week because these corporations don't want to keep any long term employees working 30 plus hours a week because they would have to provide them with insurance and raises. And on top of that, there are either one or zero cashiers, so now you have to ring up and bag your own groceries, meaning basically that you are providing unpaid labor for them. That'd be like going to Subway and have to make your own sandwich. That's what we just said. And
Don't fuck around.
let me double down on the part of the 30 hours a week thing. I used to work for Home Depot, and basically they hire all the new employees as part time, and they don't let anybody get more than 29 hours a week. And they were using the Obamacare thing as an excuse for doing this. And it's a huge turnover rate, hardly gets any new, everybody is new always, you know. And for you to get like to get full time is like getting a raise, you know, and they hold a carrot on that, and you have to grind. You might be there 6 months before you can even get to the point where you're full time. You know, starving you out. Not only that, at Home Depot, your hours were all over the place every week. So you know you can't work another job because the hours at this job are unpredictable every week. You know, you could be nights, mornings, all literally all over the place. Therefore, it leaves no space for you to be able to commit to another job because you'll end up scheduled at the same time where you need to be at work at that other job. Fucking, oh my God, I was there for 4 years. It was the worst job I had ever. And then they ask you to do so much stuff. Like the training is horrible. You sit there on a computer and you don't really learn anything. And then when you get out on the floor, you're supposed to know all of this stuff. So really, a lot of jobs are doing this. They're relying on your prior knowledge that you already have to be able to do these jobs, because if you don't know anything, you're not going to be able to do these jobs because they don't train you for nothing. And then they ask you to do all kinds of work outside of your job description, totally like extra. Like really, you should be getting paid 3 times as much as they're paying you for the stuff that they have you doing, which is skilled stuff, like skilled labor stuff, like freaking driving forklifts and, you know, stuff that you can't just walk off the street and really know how to do. Uh, Anyways, let me read some more. It says, though all government states are duped to look better, another great parallel to this is unemployment. Basically, anyone has been unemployed for more than 6 months and isn't actively looking for a job or an education is no longer technically considered unemployed. They are literally just removed from the state sheet altogether. And the best part is they don't get put back on it if they start looking for a job again. They're only added back if and when they actually do find a job. It's really disgusting the lengths that they will go to in order to try and hide the real state of the country and the economy, because by ignoring it, you know, it can only make things worse, because not only is there no solution being offered, people make important decisions based on these numbers that they otherwise wouldn't if they knew the real stats. This kind of shit should be illegal. So what, to clear up what he's saying here, is like the number, like they said, it's the most newer jobs happened over the last 2 years or something like that, and like
Bullshit.
the least amount of employment, like the largest amount of people employed and all of this shit. And it's like straight up lying, because the numbers aren't covering these people who are just kind of just, they're just doing odd jobs. They're no longer a part of the stat sheet. They're no longer in the system as far as being counted related to employed or unemployed, because they're
Yeah,
doing odd jobs and just making money however they can.
yeah. I
Or
don't
they
even think they're trying to pretend right now. I think they, like the less they say about that, the better for them, because if somebody's gonna fact check them and come back and say something. But of course, it'll get shadow banned in many news media. Like, it just
and,
won't get talked about.
and a lot of people are just staying home. Like if they have a spouse or a significant other that makes halfway decent money, in a lot of homes, it just makes sense, especially if they have kids, because childcare is so damn expensive. So the other parent, they just stay home, and you know, because getting back and forth to work, paying for gas, paying for lunch, you know, with the little old check that they're getting, don't even add up, don't even make sense when they have to pay for daycare, so forth and so on. You know, figuring out how to pick up your kids from school, this kind of thing is a real problem for a lot of us. I was going through it as a single parent, and I don't see how the hell, like, you have the meetings that you're supposed to go to with school and all of this, picking up your kids. How are you going to pick your kid up from school when you have to be at work, you know? And then if you have a small child, and you got to pay for them to be in daycare, and the amount the daycare costs for a month exceeds the amount that you make in a month. What's the point going to work then? You just stay at home and you just let the other spouse kind of cover the bills and work three jobs or whatever the hell, and you take care of the house, and it just kind of makes sense. And all of these people are not being counted as unemployed.
Yeah.
Let me read some more. It says, if you wanted the real CPI, you'd first of all take shrinkflation into account, and second, stop focusing on the plethora of shit the average America doesn't even consider spending money on. If you just looked at fuel, electricity, gas, rent, car payments, insurance, groceries, toiletries, simple entertainment like streaming services or video games, cell phone and bill internet, car repairs, hospital bills, health insurance, pharmaceuticals, that's a whole list. Let me skip through this. Then you would get the real functional CPI.
And
And oh,
subscriptions.
and oh yeah, I almost forgot the most egregious offenders of all, eggs, which have doubled or tripled in price. Try telling someone like me who lives on a diet of mostly milk and eggs that inflation is 7% or whatever. I'll laugh my ass off.
10. It's like 10 or more.
I'm
Might be
sure it's
like 11%, 10.7%
could
or
be as
something like
high
that.
as 15 once you factor in how much people have to pay for rent and stuff like that. All of the list that this guy just made. Let me read some more. It says milk is almost triple, eggs are triple, and gas is 2.5%. That's 266% on my trips to the grocery store. This shit is unsustainable, and something really bad is going to happen when reality catches up. You think we're in a bear run right now? Just wait. Wait until the stock market bubble bursts because they're doing all
The
of their
bear gonna be
trading.
hibernating. The bear gonna be hibernating before you know it.
Yeah, it says they're doing all of their trading with these fake CPI numbers factored in. Just wait until people can't afford food and gas and rent anymore, and they lose it the during the presidential debates when Biden tries telling them that gas prices hikes and inflation are improving. This
And they're gonna be
cannot
looking for him.
last.
They're gonna be looking for him.
Trying to get this dude pitchforks. And he says this cannot last and it's going to end very ugly, especially when the biggest consumers in the world, baby boomers, start dying off or going into nursing homes. Things are going to get worse before they get better. Look for 2023 to be even worse than 2008. Only this time, if they try to give away trillions in bailouts to banks and big corporations, you're going to see
Man,
a revolt that puts Occupy Wall Street to shame. A movement they won't be able to destroy this time by inject interactional identity interactional identity politics into the crowd because people are already sick of that shit. Don't be surprised when you see Antifa and the Proud Boys lined up side by side protesting the bankers who got us into this mess in the first place. And that's the worst thing they're afraid of. And he said something that made me think. What did he say? Talking about the baby boomers dying. And so the thing with the Roe versus Wade being overturned, and we talked about in the other show about they wanting more people so they can have more consumers so they could keep making money. So people are only having like 1 and 2 kids now here in the United States. This is fewer consumers. You know what I'm saying?
but
So
this
that
is a problem that they created, though.
Right. And what I'm saying is, though, it's going to bite them in their ass because they want people to keep buying more and more of this new car, new phone. You have to get the latest phone. You have to get the latest whatever. You have to buy all these appliances for your home and all of this. Well, it's only the parent only had 2 kids, and the 2 kids can
What
only
what's
consume so much. So they're gonna have all this excess fucking shit
Yeah. Just woke up.
they keep making that there ain't nobody out here to buy it. Article that you sent to me the other day, Doc. Houston Chronicle. It says the head of the